If you're an anglophile and you're wanting to come over to England, you might hear one word that you don't use at home, and it is cuppa. Cuppa basically just means cup of, a cup of tea. And I would say it's probably the most common drink that people are having in their households across the nation. But one of the things I've noticed is that my North American counterparts, they often make tea wrong. And typically this doesn't happen once they move to England because someone tears a strip off of them. But when I see my friends make a cup of tea at home, I understand why they typically don't like it. So if you are going to make a typical cup of tea, a builder's tea, which I'll get into in a minute, you definitely, the number one thing that you won't want to do is go take water from the tap and then put a tea bag in it and put it in the microwave. No, that is not going to work. The biggest thing to having a great cup of tea is using a kettle and allowing the tea bag or the tea leaves an appropriate time to steep. That is what is going to really bring the brew of the tea out. Builder's tea, also known as builder's brew, is a British English colloquial term for a strong cup of tea. It takes its name from the inexpensive tea commonly drunk by laborers taking a break. Builder's tea is typically brewed in a mug with the tea contained in a tea bag, as opposed to loose leaves in a teapot, with a small amount of milk usually added after either stirring the tea or leaving it to stand and infuse. It is often taken with 1 or more teaspoons of white sugar, but this is optional.
I'm an avid drinker of the Builder's Brew, and in about 2004 someone forgot to boil the sugar, which forced the entire workforce to go without, and we now take our Builder's Brew without sugar at all. And now if someone makes me one with sugar, I'm like...
So, we just heard a little bit about what builder's tea is, and in our household, I typically prefer PG Tips. That is a brand of tea. To be honest, I don't know why I prefer it. My ex-partner is actually English as well, and I met him back in Canada, and he would always have PG Tips, and maybe it's just the one that I'm the most familiar with. But my mother-in-law bought us, and I feel like she has a sixth sense of knowing when we're going to run out because then she sends another bag over. But she bought us so much Tetley tea, so we've just been making our way through the Tetley tea. Now you can put alternative milks in this, however, I don't think it tastes very good with alternative milks. And back at home in Canada, my grandparents and my aunts, they would often put evaporated milk in their tea, whereas that's not a thing really in Canada or the UK. But here I find people just use milk in their tea, whereas back at home I think people would put cream in their tea or creamer. However, today I thought we could make a cup of tea from this Nicolas Fairford Tea collection. So this one's Botanica, which I won't be making today. And then this one is Earl Grey with blue flower. And then this one is the breakfast tea, which breakfast tea just reminds me of a black tea. So today, because it is over 30 degrees out, I thought we could make the Earl Grey one.
It hurts me. Do you have milk and sugar in, or
I do, milk, and of course you've got to make it really well. And that was actually living in Los Angeles and in America. I know we all bitch about it. It's so true. They do not know how to make a cup of tea in America. Still.
You get a cup with hot water in, and a horrible tea bag on the side.
You want hot tea? Yes. Do you have a kettle, a teapot, a teapot? No, you need to boil the water, bubble boil the water. You put it with the tea, and it has a chemical effect in a way. It's science. It's still.
No, they don't. And the other thing they do when you go through that, having to have it, we stayed in a hotel in Florida when I was working over there for a bit, and they were so sweet. And in the end, they went and bought a plug-in kettle for us to have in the room. But they tried, because when I said it's got to be boiling water, they boiled the water in a coffee percolator. So
that makes it stink of coffee.
Well, it was horrible.
Yeah, it tastes of coffee. I know, it's so... I feel awful going on about it when I'm there, but it is just a sort of art. And then, of course, the china pot is important, and the type of cup and everything, so...
That's very, very true. Very... That's hysterical.
Now, while we are waiting for about 2 minutes for this tea to steep, I thought I would tell you a little bit about what is in the different teas that I picked up from Nicolas Fairford. If you're unfamiliar with Nicolas Fairford, he has the best YouTube channel, and I absolutely love it. I feel like for a North American, maybe an anglophile, he is the epitome of he embodies what you think the UK will be like. And he came out with a tea line. Now, I've come to learn that I actually don't love loose leaf tea. Maybe I need to develop my palate a little bit more, but anytime I've gone to any type of afternoon tea, champagne tea, high tea, any type of tea event, I've just kind of like walked away from it a little bit lackluster. But I will say, having loose leaf teas at home, especially if you're having somebody over, it just elevates the experience. And these teas are lovely, but maybe I need to develop my palate. So this Earl Grey one, it's Botanica Earl Grey Blue Flower Tea. It says, this Earl Grey with blue flowers is an East African black tea flavored with Italian bergamot oil, a refreshing accompaniment to your afternoon tea. The blue cornflower petals add a subtle note of sweetness to a familiar Earl Grey taste, wonderful with a squeeze of lemon. Now, many times in my life I've heard of English breakfast, but I had never heard of a Scottish breakfast. So this one is a robust blend of Assam, Ceylon, Kenyan tea. Our Scottish breakfast is the perfect way to begin a gentle morning and ease yourself into the day with a splash of milk. And then the third one is the Botanica Rose Petal Black Tea. And it says, this is a classical scented tea made with rose petals layered into black china tea. It is the perfect refreshment when spending long afternoons in a beautiful garden in summertime. It has a sweet and full taste with flowery notes for extra indulgence, and a dash of cream may be added. And so I might try this one when it cools down. I've had these forever, but I've had these teas for quite a few months now, but finding the time to sit and film this video has proved a little bit challenging. So I think it's time to take this out of the pot and add the lemon. You may have seen that I added extra lemon because for me, Earl Grey has always been a little bit too perfume-like. And this is actually the first Earl Grey tea that I've been able to enjoy without feeling like I'm drinking a bottle of perfume. So let's get that into the cup. And there you have it, your proper cup of tea. I think if you're coming from North America and you really enjoy herbal teas, an Earl Grey tea is probably going to be what you lean towards when you're here in the UK. Herbal teas tend not to really be a thing here. People usually stick with either a builder tea or an Earl Grey tea, and that's about it. English breakfast if you're feeling wild. Anyways, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, what is your favorite part about being an Anglophile? Enjoy.